Every console generation since the 90s produced 2 or 3 characters whose art set the visual rules for the next 5 to 7 years. The most technically impressive game of the year was never the most influential one. The most influential ones made a permanent argument about what a character looks like. The history of game art told through the characters who carried it across 6 generations. Before 3D, character art was a marketing problem. Nintendo had Mario and Sega needed a Mario killer. Sonic showed up in 1991 with red sneakers, an attitude, and a color palette built for the harsh Genesis hardware. Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima designed him to do one thing Mario could not: move fast. The sprite was engineered around the limitation that he had to read clearly while sprinting across the screen at full speed. Every shape choice on Sonic was a hardware decision dressed up as personality. Donkey Kong Country in 1994 did something nobody thought possible on the SNES. Rare pre-rendered 3D models from Silicon Graphics workstations, then mapped them onto 2D sprites. The console could not run 3D, but the art team faked it well enough that players believed they were looking at a new generation early. Lara Croft in 1996 came out of core design as roughly 500 polygons total. Her proportions were extreme because subtle would have looked broken. She had to read as a person from a distance with almost nothing to work with. Mario 64 the same year had Mario at around 750 polygons. Nintendo leaned into roundness, primary colors, and shapes that hid the geometry. Mario felt like a cartoon because pretending he was anything else would have failed. Solid Snake in 1998 was the first character built for cinematic close-ups. Kojima used pre-rendered cutscenes and codec calls to do what real-time could not. He treated the character as a film actor before the engines could carry a film actor. Every studio that ships cinematic gameplay today is doing some version of what Kojima did first. Master Chief launched with Halo in 2001 and immediately solved a problem nobody had figured out before. How do you build a character players never see the face of and still make them iconic? Bungie used a silhouette, helmet shape, shoulder profile, the green and gold palette readable from any angle. Shadow of the Colossus in 2005 went the opposite direction. Fumito Ueda at Team Ico stripped the character to almost nothing. The art direction made the Colossi feel massive by making him deliberately small and simple. PS2 could not render a fully detailed hero against a fully detailed giant. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time in 2003 introduced fluid traversal animation as a character art problem. Ubisoft Montreal built the Prince's movement system as a continuous flow of poses, not discrete animations. Every Assassin's Creed parkour system runs on the foundation they built for that one character. HD changed everything. The Xbox 360 and PS3 pushed character detail into territory where you could see pores, scars, and stitching. Marcus Fenix in Gears of War weighed 300 pounds. The whole generation's aesthetic for shooters followed. Brown palette, cover-based combat, heavily muscled protagonists. Every gritty cover shooter from 2007 to 2013 copied something Gears did. Nathan Drake in Uncharted 2 in 2009 took the next step. Naughty Dog used performance capture for the entire body and face at the same time. Drake was the first protagonist who could deliver a film-quality acting performance inside a game. Later, Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us in 2013 ended the generation. Naughty Dog pushed the PS3 past what the engineers thought was possible. Facial micro-expressions, real subsurface scattering on skin, characters who looked at each other and reacted. PS4 and Xbox One gave studios enough headroom to finally do what they had been wanting to do: build characters who looked human in real time. Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn shipped in 2017 with hair that did something nobody had pulled off before, each strand simulated. Guerrilla Games hired a dedicated specialist whose entire job was Aloy's hair production for the full project. Geralt in The Witcher 3 in 2015 answered a different question: how do you put a photoreal character into a 100-hour open world without the world breaking him? CD Projekt Red built the engine and the asset pipeline simultaneously, and Geralt held up across every weather state, time of day, and camera angle the game threw at him. Most open world RPGs still chase what that build achieved. Kratos in God of War in 2018 was Santa Monica Studio rewriting their own character. The original Kratos was a screaming red rage machine. The 2018 version had a beard, a son, restraint, and an interior life. Cory Barlog and the team redesigned the visual identity to match a redesigned story identity. PS5, Xbox Series, and the second wave of Unreal Engine 5 closed the gap between cinema and gameplay. Senua in Hellblade 2 shipped with real-time facial performance that read as a film actor on a console. Ninja Theory used full performance capture, meta-human technology, and a custom rendering. The face you see in gameplay is the same face from the cinematics, with no quality drop. Sun Wukong in Black Myth. Wukong came out the same year from Game Science, a Chinese studio that nobody outside Asia had taken seriously as a AAA developer. They proved that the technical ceiling was no longer a Sony or Naughty Dog monopoly. Even Stellar Blade came out of Shift Up in Korea. Stylized realism, refined silhouette, deliberate posing for combat. Korean studios spent the previous decade building this kind of character art for mobile and live service projects. Stellar Blade brought it to console and showed that the visual identity Asia had been developing in parallel was now ready for global AAA. The creation process behind these characters got more complex every cycle. Most studios cannot staff every production discipline internally. None of the characters in this video were built without external partners somewhere in the pipeline. Kevuru Games produces character art for AAA and indie studios at every stage. Concept design, high poly sculpting, retopology, texturing, rigging, hair, and full engine integration in Unreal and Unity. 13 years of work across the pipelines that built the characters you just watched.